Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Friendly Focus, Week 8. I'm your host who boasts who knows the most, but if my picks don't help you, you can definitely roast. So, how'd you guys do last week? I was 1-1 in both my leagues, so it seems to be the, um, you know, routine win one league, lose one league, so it's a crazy, crazy year this year. So, what did we learn? Could be the end of an era with Rodgers, Brady, Ryan, and Wilson. So, Brady's not having a line to really protect for him. Rodgers doesn't have any receivers to throw to. Wilson's talking about having Wolverine blood or something like that and healing fast, but it doesn't translate on the field. And Matt Ryan getting benched for the remainder of the season for poor play. So these quarterbacks that were elite so many years ago are, not so elite now. Um, Running backs getting traded. So James Robinson traded to the Jets for a 6th-round pick, and CMC traded for a 2023 second-round pick, 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, and a 2023 5th-round pick. So they see more value in CMC. I mean, James Robinson's a good running back too. So, but no first-round picks, because running backs are their longevity is not really there. So, but that definitely changes the landscape of fantasy football for sure. And the last thing we learned this week was the Bears came into Foxborough and embarrassed the Patriots. So, Mac Jones came in, played horribly. Then Bailey Zappi came in and led them to 2 scores, and then didn't do anything much after that. I don't know if it was just a combination of Bears defense playing really well or Patriots playing really bad. So it looked like that Jones is going to get another start this week. So let's just get right into the games. So Thursday night game is going to be the Ravens at the Buccaneers. Lamar Jackson, no brainer. Start him. Davenport and Dumervet, they've kind of been like non-existent for the past couple of weeks, so I wouldn't suggest starting them. I think Bucks secondary is pretty underrated. I don't even know who's running the ball for the Ravens. I think it's Gus Edwards, but I wouldn't trust him. The only guys I would trust are, like I said, Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. Defense for the Ravens, they're not the Raven defense of old. I wouldn't suggest starting them at all. When it comes to the Buccaneers, Tom Brady, that was a loss to the Panthers last week and lost bad. So I wouldn't suggest starting Tom Brady this week. Even though he's at home, it might be kind of like a iffy game. When he plays bad, he's going to get pretty mad. But there might be some garbage time points or something like that. Maybe trailing, coming from behind. So I would say Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, start him for sure. I think Brate is still recovering from his concussion. I mean, wouldn't start him anyway. I would say start Leonard Fournette. He's pretty much a lost start every week, even though they're playing bad. And when it comes to the Buccaneers defense, I wouldn't. I don't think they can contain Lamar Jackson. So, yeah. So next game is going to be, like I mentioned before, the Wolverine-blooded, having Russell Wilson Broncos at the Jaguars, and this game is going to be in London, so it's going to be early start at 6:30 a.m. Wolverine blood or not, I would not say start Russell Wilson until he shows some consistency. He's dealing with a bunch of nagging injuries right now. Don't start him. I wouldn't say Judy. I think who's the topic of trade rumors. Wouldn't start him or Sutton. I'm not even sure who's starting tight end right now for the Broncos. Gordon, Boone, and Murray, probably not. No one on the Broncos. Defense, no. Jags are same thing. Trevor Lawrence, probably not. Broncos defense is actually pretty decent, but I think it's going to be not enough for you to warrant start Trevor Lawrence. No. Is it Etienne? He's a starter now, so let's see what he can do. So if you have him, I'd suggest start him. Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, I'd say start them. I mean, they are the wide receivers are probably garbage time points again, and it might be enticing to pick up the Jags defense this week. I would say that if the backup for the Broncos would be playing, but it's in London. It's kind of a neutral site. I'd be kind of iffy starting the Jaguars defense. It's like it's one week they're good and the next week they're bad. So I probably wouldn't suggest starting them. Next game is going to be the Panthers at the Falcons. So Panthers upset the Buccaneers last week. It seemed that maybe trading CMC, PJ Walker starting. Maybe they're getting some kind of chemistry clicking here, but that was just 1 week, so I wouldn't suggest starting PJ Walker again. He's kind of like maybe start every couple, just see how he does every week and then go from there. But they're probably just waiting until Baker Mayfield comes back. I'd say start DJ Moore. He's got to throw it to somebody, right? So, forgive me, I don't even know who the tight end for the Panthers is right now, but the running backs now are Hubbard and Foreman. They're probably worth a start this week. They got something to prove, So Panthers defense, I wouldn't start them. Not at the Falcons. Looks like Mariota came back down to reality next week, or the whole Falcons team. I'd say take a flyer on him if you can. Panthers defense is not necessarily that good. Comes to the receivers, Drake London, I don't know, didn't really show much. Same with Kyle Pitts. I mean, if you have somebody better than him, then start. There's other tight ends out there that might be worth a flyer, but if you have him, probably give it a shot. I'm not even sure what the running back situation is in Atlanta, but it's kind of iffy. Probably wouldn't start them either. And Falcon defense might be enticing to start, but I'd say this game's going to be close, so I wouldn't, seeing how everything's gone this year, I probably wouldn't start the Falcons defense. So the Bears, a surprise win last week, are going to the Cowboys this week. So I don't see them duplicating that win last week, especially at the Cowboys. So Fields was a pretty good game manager. The run game helped him out a lot. Defense as well. I wouldn't trust Fields. I think they're going to harass Fields this week. So wouldn't start for sure. It seems Herbert is the better option to go with than Montgomery, but if you have both, if you have either or, I wouldn't that be that bad. But see how they might be coming from behind, but they do rely on their run game a lot, so they're worth starting. So Cole Kmet, probably not. Same with the wide receivers, is Mooney and Pettis. I think they're going to be covered pretty well with the Cowboys secondary. And Bears defense, no, they're not going to do the same thing they did last week. So Cowboys, Dak is back. So, yeah, I would say start Dak this week for sure. Lamb, Brown. Lamb more than anything, start for sure. Brown, not sure. Gallup didn't do anything last week, so the only guy I would trust is Lamb. It looks like Zeke is hurt this week, so it looks like Tony Pollard is going to start. So I'd definitely start Tony Pollard for sure. And Cowboys defense, yes, definitely worth a start. They are pretty good defense. So next game is going to be the Dolphins at the Lions. Dolphins barely won last week, so they have Tua back. So I'd say start him for sure. I start anyone against the Lions. The Lions defense is actually pretty bad. Waddle, Tyreek Hill start for sure. Raheem Mostert, and pretty much taking over the lead role as a running back. Yeah, start him for sure. Gesicki as well. And Dolphins defense is actually probably worth a stream this week for sure. I mean, the Lions do put up a good fight and everything like that, but their defense is probably going to hold the Lions in check. So the Lions showed how gritty they were, but the record doesn't really show it. I wouldn't recommend starting Goff. Amon St. Brown, probably not either. Hawkinson's worth a start. I think he's the number one target for Goff to go to if he gets in trouble. I'm not even sure if Swift is coming back. I think it's Jamal Williams, but possibly. So, but Lions defense, they're never worth a start. So the Cardinals at the Vikings is next. So the Cardinals put a hurting on the Saints, but that was at home last week. So this week I think it's going to be very different. I think Kyler Murray's going to do okay. He does have Hopkins back, and he has Robbie Anderson, but he hasn't really done anything. So I wouldn't say start Kyler Murray this week. So it looks like James Conner might be coming back, but Benjamin had done pretty well. Ertz, I don't know. Hasn't really done anything this year. So Cardinals defense, skip on starting them. Vikings are actually pretty good this year, so I would say start Kirk Cousins, that's for sure. Justin Jefferson, no brainer. Adam Thielen, he might be on the downside of his career. I'd say start him. He probably, if Jefferson is covered, then he'll probably get some looks. Irv Smith, probably not. Hasn't really done much this year. Dalvin Cook, of course. They rotate with him and Madison for sure. And I wouldn't say start Vikings defense, even though it's a revenge game for Patrick Peterson. They do okay, but not enough to say warrant a start. So the next game, we're going to go into the afternoon games now, is going to be the Raiders at the Saints. So Raiders did pretty well last week by beating the Texans. I would say start Derek Carr, start all the offensive guys if you can. Josh Jacobs hat trick last week with 3 touchdowns. Devontae Adams pretty good. I think Hunter Renfrow is kind of falling off a little bit. I'm not sure on the health of Darren Waller, but I've seen some people say out there Raiders defense is worth a start. I haven't seen any consistency at all to warrant them a start, and they're playing at the Saints this week. So yeah, I mean, it might have been like a flyer for last week's start against the Texans, but they gave up like 20 points. So that no, you're crazy if you think you want to start the Raiders defense. So Saints, I think Dalton is starting again this week. He did pretty well except for throwing those 2 pick sixes, but he's at home. Probably warrant a start this week for sure. Olave, the other wide receivers that they have, and Johnson, the tight end, actually scored 2 touchdowns, so he's definitely worth a streamer this week if you need a tight end. Kamara for sure. And Saints defense, they're probably not. This is probably going to be a shootout game actually, so no, don't want to start the Saints defense. Patriots at the Jets is the next game. So Patriots are going back to Mac Jones. I don't see good things happening here. Myers, Parker, all those guys might get some looks, but I think the Jets are playing at a pretty high level. Monty Stevenson, definitely worth a start. Same with Harris, if he's actually going to play. And I wouldn't start the Patriots defense. They got pretty much obliterated last week. Zach Wilson is a good game manager, but I wouldn't trust him in this week's matchup. I think you still have Elijah Moore and Wilson and those other guys, but it's probably going to be middle, low-scoring game here. James Robinson, we don't know if he's going to make his debut this week. Michael Carter was definitely worth a flyer this week if you pick him up on the waiver wire. They might probably ease Robinson into the game a little bit, but Michael Carter is probably definitely worth a start this week. Maybe flex for sure. The tight ends are kind of disappeared. There's a Conklin and Uzomah, I think, from the Bengals. Kind of non-existent. And Jets defense may be worth a flyer this week for sure. I think they're really gonna harass Mac Jones and company. So definitely worth a streamer. So the next game is going to be the Steelers at the Eagles. What can I say? Kenny Pickett They threw three more picks last week. This team's in shambles. I wouldn't suggest starting any of the wide receivers at all. Same with Najee Harris or Freiermuth. Defense for Pittsburgh, don't start. So Eagles, Jalen Hurts for sure. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. Let's see, Miles Sanders, all the running backs if you have them. And the defense just got even scarier when they just picked up, I think it was Griffin? Yeah. It's from the Bears. So, yeah, look for the defense. Start for absolutely 100% no-brainer. Start them for sure. At home, as Steelers. Look for them to put probably double digits in points this week. Next game is going to be the Titans at the Texans. So the Titans, they have a pretty good record. Pretty manageable. So, it's a divisional game. Say if you have someone better than Tannehill, start him. But if you have him, probably with the flyer. Robert Woods hasn't really done anything this year. Derrick Henry, no-brainer. And Titans defense actually has been playing a lot better. So looking for them to carry that momentum into this week. So I have them this week, so please score for me. So the Texans, oh man. They look like they're better on paper, but Davis Mills, probably not. Brandon Cooks kind of like disappeared. Same with O.J. Howard. Same with Dameon Pierce. Texans defense, no. So if you have any Texans players this week, probably look to bench them. So the Commanders at the Colts is the next game. So Chris Heineke came in, and they came in with the upset of the Packers last week. So I'm going to say this right now. I think Heineke is better than Carson Wentz. So yeah, quote me. Record this. Say it. I think he knows the system better than Wentz right now, and I think they're going to actually surprise a lot of people. So I think that playing against the Colts at the Colts is going to be kind of tough, but he's actually going to surprise a lot of people. It's probably too soon to warrant starting him this week. You got to probably see how he does. It's like the second game back. I know he did throw a couple picks last week, so if you do start him with caution. McLaren, Curtis Samuel, probably with start for sure. Looks like Ryan Robinson has taken over the lead role as running back, with Antonio Gibson kind of like substituting for him here and there. So he's definitely worth a start. Logan Thomas, he's kind of disappeared, so I wouldn't say, and he can't stay healthy for sure. I wouldn't recommend starting the Commanders defense. You got to see some more consistency from, And the Colts, Matt Ryan, like I mentioned earlier, benched for the rest of the season. Backup guy coming in. We don't know how he's going to do, so I wouldn't take a flyer on a guy, especially that, backup. So you have to see some consistency there, then start it. Pittman, and the other guys in company, probably wait and see kind of thing. I wouldn't start any of the receivers right now to see how the quarterback does, and then this is for his first week, so it's a trial week, so I wouldn't recommend starting him. I believe Jonathan Taylor's back, so I'm probably going to be running the ball a lot. Comes to the tight ends, probably going to be looking for them for, if he gets into trouble. And I know Colts defense is a popular pickup this week, but it's kind of I would say I wouldn't start them. It's kind of a wait and see kind of thing, because it's all going to depend on how the quarterback does as well. If he's three and out all the time, they're going to be exhausted and gassed, and they probably can't perform. So next is going to be the 49ers at the Rams. When they met a couple weeks ago, it was a totally different outcome. Both teams are kind of mediocre. Rams pretty much had a bye, and then 49ers got obliterated by the Chiefs last week at home. Garoppolo, I wouldn't suggest starting him this week, even though he had to do CMC. It's probably going to be a tight game, divisional game. CMC, he got like about 8 points last week. Start him. Samuel, Ayuk, start him. Kittle. Garoppolo, Garoppolo's got to throw somebody, right? So, 49er defense, they put it to the Rams last time, but I don't see it happening in this time. So, especially giving up like 44 points to the Chiefs, but that was the Chiefs, but I don't see them doing this time. I think the Rams are rested. They'll probably reassess things now, and then they're going to play a lot better this week. So I see starting Matt Stafford. Yeah, I think, they probably had a week to rest and then, change things up. So start him this week, but with caution, of course, because, he's prone to throw a pick six or two. Cooper Kupp, no brainer. Allen Robinson seems to have picked it up again with the system in the Rams. Darrell Henderson and I forgot the other guy, but I'm not sure on those because Cam Akers pretty much being put out there for trade bait. I'm not even sure. Be kind of iffy on that one. Higbee, he seems like the escape for Stafford if he gets into trouble, so start him for sure. So and Rams defense, they're kind of iffy. I'd say don't start them this week. So the next game is going to be the Giants at the Seahawks. Daniel Jones is definitely worth a streamer this week. He's played pretty well. All the Giants, all the receivers have played pretty well. Forgive me for not knowing all of them. It's just sounding kind of like a bunch of journeymen. I'd say start all of them. Saquon Barkley for sure. I can't remember that. Yeah, tight end. I'm sorry too. Just journeyman as well. Giants defense might be popular streaming, but not against the Seahawks. Seahawks have been playing pretty well, so I wouldn't say start them. Geno Smith looks rejuvenated. This new team. He's got some wide receivers to throw it to. I think Metcalf is hurt, so look for Lockett and Godwin to. Is it Godwin or Goodwin? Marquise to get a lot of looks. Not sure the tight end situation in Seattle, but Kenneth Walker has shown that he is ready to take the mantle of the starting running back, and he's played like it. So yeah, definitely start Kenneth Walker for sure. Seattle's defense is not what it used to be, so I wouldn't start them. Next game is going to be the Packers at the Bills. Oh man, Packers are a mess. I wouldn't say start Aaron Rodgers, especially against the Bills. They're probably going to be all over him this week. Same with the wide receivers, Lazard, Dobbs, all those guys. Watkins, no. Same with Tanyan, probably no. They're probably going to rely on the run game a lot, so probably Dillon and Jones for sure. Packers defense, absolutely not. Allen, Josh Allen, that's a no-brainer. Start him for sure. Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis for sure. Dawson Knox, after getting that extension, he's been kind of non-existent, so I wouldn't say start him. The Bills probably going to be up by a lot. So Singletary, Woods, Cook and Moss are probably going to be good flexes because they're probably going to be running the ball just to run out the time. And Bill defense is definitely worth a start. And the last game, Monday night, going to be the Bengals at the Browns. Bengals put a buttload of points up last week against Saints. Look for them to do it again this week at the Browns. So, yep. Joe Burrow start for sure. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. Even Hayden Hurst, he's probably worth a start too. And Cincinnati defense, probably not. I wouldn't say they haven't shown a lot of consistency. The Browns, Brissett has done well enough, so I would say start them. I don't think the Bengals defense is really scary or anything to worry about. Mark Cooper is pretty good. Njoku is out, so that might hurt. So you got Chubb and Hunt, so talk to those two guys if you can. And Browns defense, I wouldn't start them at all. So let's go to the kickers for this week. So Daniel Carlson, the Saints, look for this game to be a shootout. Look at them. So they see a lot of kicking opportunities for Carlson. Tyler Bass, the Packers, same thing. Not really much of a shootout, more of just kind of like going to be up by a lot, so we'll see a lot of field goals. Justin Tucker, he's a no-brainer every week against the Buccaneers. So Evan McPherson, the Browns, yep, same thing. Going to be plenty of opportunities to get field goals. Jason Myers at home at the Giants. So the Seahawks are scoring a lot of points. So look for Myers to get a lot of opportunities to score. Jason Sanders at the Jets. Yeah, I don't see if the Patriots aren't getting into the. I'm not sure if Nick Folks is hurt, but um, I think that's. I think Sanders is the kicker for Miami, by the way. But start them. Start the kicker in Miami for sure. Um, Graham Gano at the Seahawks. The Giants are a rough, tough team. They're going to definitely get a chance to score a lot too. Suck up against the Ravens at home, so if Brady doesn't get it punched in the end zone, they're gonna kick some field goals. And Young Wei Koo at home at the Panthers, gonna get an opportunity to score a lot. So that's the picks for this week. So hopefully you guys have good luck this week. Did better than I did. So I wish you guys all good luck. Hopefully you guys win in all your leagues. Thanks for nerding out to your nonsense. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.